Hi guys, I'm back again with some more stories for you today. Let's go to the first one, about crazy OP's mother's request for OP's wedding. Listen to the story to find out, and of course to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 20 female, am getting married in a little under a year, and my mom, 43 female, is insisting that her affair partner walks me down the aisle. I know that I probably sound like a jerk for referring to him, 37 male, as her affair partner, but he knew my mom was married and still helped her cheat on my dad, 62 male. My dad is still alive, and even prior to announcing my engagement to my mom, I had asked my dad if he could walk me down the aisle, and he said yes, but my mom is still pissed at me for not welcoming her affair partner into the family by having him give me away. I barely know her affair partner, nor do I even want him at my wedding, and I've made that clear. But now my mom is dragging all my relatives into it, and they're saying that I'm being a jerk and should just let her affair partner walk me down the aisle. I ended up telling my mom that I don't want anything to do with her affair partner, and that he needs to stop trying to replace my dad. Now, a bunch of my family is saying that they won't come to my wedding, and even one of my bridesmaids backed out. Am I the a-hole? Edit. My mom only has an invite because my wedding falls on her week with my little sister, 11 female. Edit. For those questioning the age gap of my parents, I was adopted. They didn't have a biological kid together until my mom was in her 30s. Of course, OP is not in the wrong here. It's her wedding. It's her choice who walks her down the aisle. I simply don't understand so many people are supporting a woman who cheated on her husband. And I also think that OP's mother is delusional to think that OP will agree her affair partner, the man who broke up OP's family, walks her down the aisle. I think anyone who supports OP's mother's ridiculous demand is welcome to decline their invitation. Let's see if the community agrees with me. Cheddar Baked Potato says, not the a-hole. Cut all of those toxic people out of your life. I would have cut my mom off the second I found out she cheated. She has no right at all to pressure you. Kick them all to the curb and move on. Nicole Warren Diver says, not the a-hole, obviously. Since your wedding is a year away, I strongly suggest you change the date to one when your father has your little sister, and then disinvite your mother, her partner, and any member of her family who tried to blackmail you into letting this man walk you down the aisle. They are all horrible people, and I'm sure you, your fiancé, and your dad will all enjoy yourselves at the wedding much more without their toxicity. Pavatar says, not the a-hole. Why on earth should your mother think her affair partner gets to walk you down the aisle when you have a father to do this? Your mother is delusional. Tell her it's not going to happen, and you won't discuss it further. So, a little backstory. My mother has always been a selfish person. Anytime I would be praised for something, she had to make it about her. One example was my graduation. My family praised my mother for me finishing high school and getting into university, despite the fact that she was too busy with her boyfriends to care about how I was doing in school. My mother separated from her ex-husband in 2020, and me being a good daughter, wanted to help her out and offered for her to move in with me until she could get back on her feet and find her own place to live. She moved all of her stuff into my and my partner's house, which we own, and said she wouldn't be there long. Shortly after moving in, she started dating a new guy. Long story short, she half moved in with him, leaving most of her stuff at my house, and leaving me in a constant state of chaos as she broke up and got back together a few times with this guy for just about 2 years. Finally, when things ended with boyfriend number 1, she got together with boyfriend number 2 a couple of weeks, maybe a month later, and I finally kicked her out. That was about a year ago. Well, in April this year, I got engaged to my partner, 29 male of 7 years. I was so excited and started planning our wedding for next year. My mother seemed happy about the engagement, saying she wanted to be involved. I'm not a person who asks for help very easily, so I've been working on getting vendors lined up and that kind of stuff. Well, 3 months after my engagement, my mother stopped by and asked that I take a certain day off work because she was having a party and really wanted me to be there. It was a surprise, but it was important I was there. As I work quite a lot, I said I would do my best to be there. About a week later, I get home from work and my fiancé asks if I've been on Facebook. As I was working, I didn't check Facebook at all that day. I open the app on my phone, and the first thing on my feed is an invitation to the party my mother is having. She announced that she is now engaged to boyfriend number 2, and they are having a huge party to celebrate. I felt completely lost for words. She hijacked my engagement and is making hers so much bigger to overshadow mine. I was selfishly hoping that the 10 months left before my wedding would have been about me, and I would have the support of my mother by my side. But instead, she has done this. I am angry that she couldn't let me have this one thing, and that she has taken any possible excitement out of this for me. I am now in a constant state of anxiety that anything I try to do with her, she will turn it around to be about her wedding. I had been planning to do wedding dress shopping soon and had hoped she would be a part of that. But now I'm concerned that instead of being there for me, she will be trying on her own dresses. It has never been my dream to plan my first wedding while my mother plans her second. I'm on the fence about having her involved in anything wedding related, due to the fear it will be overlooked by my family when my mother redirects the attention to her. Update. There's no ring, and they are both still waiting for previous divorces to go through. If she's going to be constantly using OP for attention and taking any scrap of attention she can for herself during the most special moments of OP's life, she doesn't deserve to be there. OP needs to lock her out of everything, not talk to her, not acknowledge her. As far as OP is concerned, she doesn't exist. Instead of being happy for OP, she's trying to grab every bit of attention anyone might have for herself and make sure OP gets none. OP doesn't owe her anything. Tanid H69 says, "You're going to have to gray rock her if you want her around any. I'd also put passwords with all your vendors. Don't give her info. She may copy or try to one-up. Just say you're not sure yet or haven't decided. I'd be diligent in keeping your details. I'm sorry she's not there for you." No Display says, "Don't have her there for dress shopping or engagement party if you have one. You will have your events become hers." Nervous Ad 292 says, "Man, yuck. I wouldn't have her there when you're trying on dresses or choosing bridesmaids' dresses. Anything she could copy you on, I'd leave her out of. Otherwise, you two will be walking down the aisle looking like twinsies." I, 27 female, met my husband, 26 male, in university. I had a boyfriend during the time I met him. However, my now husband was adamant that I leave my then boyfriend and date him. My boyfriend at the time was from a very affluent family, and he was all around just an amazing, respectful, and very respected guy. I did not want to date my husband at the time. He had been arrested numerous times, was failing school, and did a lot of D and partied a lot. He was close to dropping out of school. Despite all that, I fell in love with him. I made it clear to my husband that I intended to one day be a stay-at-home mother, despite my choice in university major. I went to school for electrical engineer, and he went to school for business marketing. I said if he wanted to be with me, then he had to clean up his act and figure his stuff out, because I wasn't going to let anybody ruin my future goals. My husband gave me his word that he would work hard for me. He cleaned up his act, and I helped him become a better man. I financially supported him and his mother for 5 years, and recently he found a job that will give us the stability we need so that I can stay at home when we have kids. We recently bought our first home. I'm the one paying off the bills because I make more than triple his salary. Our house will be paid off fairly soon, and his mother is planning to come and live with us as she also cannot financially support herself. Now that my husband and I have reached a time in our lives where we both have consistent incomes and we're living comfortably, we've started talking about having kids and me staying at home to raise them. During this conversation, my mother-in-law interjected and stated, "OP, you better make sure you're putting in the work instead of living like a little princess in this big house while my son works all day." I flipped. I told her she better not disrespect me like that ever again, or she's getting the boot. I told her that her son would probably either be dead, in a ditch, or in jail if it wasn't for me. That's when my husband interjected and said, "OP, Mom's right. I'm not supporting a lazy butt while I work." I've never been more mad. I told my husband that I left a healthy relationship with a perfectly good man from an amazing family to be with him. And now that I need his support while I raise his kids, he's gonna pull this crap? I told them to leave immediately. They refused. So I canceled both their cell phone plans and told them I'd stop making car insurance and mortgage payments if they're not out by the end of the night. They ended up leaving. I have no idea where they are, nor do I care. I told my parents and sister about the situation, and my sister is saying I'm being too harsh. However, my parents are on my side. Am I the a-hole? OP's husband and his mother are real pieces of work, considering they have been more or less living from OP for several years now. For them to turn around and imply that OP would be lazy as a stay-at-home mom, well, let's just say that entitled does not even begin to describe their attitude. OP, on the other hand, I think she's a real piece of work herself. Looks like OP believes that every success the two of them have had is attributable to OP's work, and not at all to him. While he and his mother were awful, OP did not cover herself with glory in her response. OP once again reminded him that she is superior to him, and then she followed it up by throwing her old relationship in his face. To be honest, looks like the two deserve each other. Let's hear the community's opinion. SW Goodtoes says, "Everyone sucks here. They suck for having the audacity to call you lazy after financially supporting both of them for 5 years. You suck for blaming your husband for your own adult choices. All this, if not for you, I'd be married to a prince BS, has seriously got to go. You made your own choices. Swallow that, and stop punishing other people for what you decided. You and your husband have opposite visions for your future. Get a divorce and find someone compatible." Unpersuasive Quiche 1 says, "Everyone sucks here. They suck more, obviously. But why did you leave a healthy relationship for this guy when you have so few positive things to say about him? He was adamant that you date him? That doesn't sound romantic. Sorry, don't date people for their potential or expect them to change. Date them for who they are." Bacon, Egg, and Cheese SPK says, "Everyone sucks here. You are both toxic as duck. You honestly deserve each other." I'm a police officer. A couple months ago, my partner and I arrested a couple of 20-year-old girls for intoxication in public and disorderly behavior. They were refusing to cooperate with us, and we just took them in for a couple hours to sober up. During that whole instance, one of the 20-year-old girls, let's call her Kay, told me, "I'm gonna ruin your life, you ugly DB." I brushed it off. She really did. My husband and I have been going through a rough patch, and the kids, 7 female and 9 female, are adding to the stress. We haven't been that intimate in 4 or 5 months. Kay found my Facebook profile by my name, and through that she found my husband's profile. She started messaging him, and my husband messaged back. It turned into a full-blown affair, and she messaged me pictures of her having intercourse with him and screenshots of their conversations, along with a simple message, "I told you I'd ruin your life, you ugly bee." My husband went to stay with his brother while I decided what to do with our marriage. My sister-in-law came over today, and we started talking about the situation. She was insinuating that over the years, I've become less and less feminine, and that's the reason my husband has lost attraction and cheated on me with a 20-year-old, and I needed to work on myself to win him back. I saw red and called her a dumb bee and asked her to immediately leave. She left in a huff and said, "This is exactly why John did what he did." My phone is currently getting blown up by family members on his side, insinuating that my attitude with sister-in-law was unacceptable and that she was only trying to help. Well, in my opinion, this girl didn't ruin OP's life. The married portion of it is already circling the drain. OP is better off divorcing her husband and that entire toxic family. That girl gave OP the ticket to a better life. OP has proof of infidelity and clear lack of intent to save the marriage. OP should use it to get favorable divorce terms, spousal settlement, and custody. My suggestion for OP would be to move on and be happy. Tim Meddy says, "Not the a-hole. What kind of complete mess of an adult man, a father nonetheless, responds to a 20-year-old random girl on Facebook making the moves on them? Did he really not see he was getting used? The idiocy is almost, but not really, worse than the cheating. How was your sister-in-law trying to help exactly? Did she think you being more feminine would suddenly fix things? This dude failed. Even if he wasn't married with children, it would have been pathetic to get manipulated by a 20-year-old girl over Facebook over this. But he was married, and the failure was all his in this case. I'd say not having to speak to this trash family anymore suddenly became a huge plus in the divorce column. Even if there were problems in the relationship, he's completely to blame for cheating. Victim blaming you here is just them ganging up on you, trying to hit you while you're down. His side of the family probably has a lot of reasons to shame you into staying, because this dude is obviously too dumb and disloyal to survive on his own. Bam F1701 says, "Not the a-hole. Oh, hell no. The only person who is responsible for the affair is your husband. He made the choice to cheat on you. It's all on him. You have absolutely no responsibility for his decision. What your sister-in-law said was way out of bounds. She was not trying to help. She was trying to shift the blame for their affair from your husband back onto you, and the rest of the family is continuing to try to paint you as the villain when you are the wronged party. Don't fall for their BS." My wife and I have been arguing about this for days, and we're at an impasse. It's gotten to the point where I have to check my cameras at work to make sure she doesn't move her sister in while I'm at work. My wife has a sister, Jill, who has a storybook memory. She regularly recounts events in her life that is heavily exaggerated or straight up never happened. For example, she tells people she has a business degree and gives financial advice, when in fact, she only has an associate's degree and has never worked in financing. She also brags about playing basketball in high school and her team going to state, but losing to the rich school. Spoiler alert, she didn't play basketball in high school and doesn't have the coordination to dribble a ball and walk, much less run and shoot it. She also tells tales of being mistreated by her parents, which I doubt based on my personal involvement. For example, we celebrated Christmas with my in-laws, and she posted on her social media about how her mother yelled at her in front of people and told her to eat less to be less fat. I was in the same house with her for a week and never noticed anything like that. The only time I witnessed a confrontation between her and my mother-in-law was when my mother-in-law told her to flush the toilet after each use. She recently made accusations against her employer for being mistreated on her social media instead of going to HR. Someone told on her, and the company did an investigation, which included recordings which disproved her story. I don't know the details, but I know she was let go. Now that she's jobless, she can't pay her rent. Jill brings drama wherever she goes with her tales of being mistreated. I work hard, and home is my sanctuary. I don't want her to bring any drama to my sanctuary, which brings us to the present. My wife argues that her sister has nowhere else to go, and I pointed out she has several other siblings and parents who refuse to take her in. I understand and love that my wife is a compassionate person, but she can't save the world, and I have to draw the line somewhere. I feel bad that my wife cries over this, but not bad enough to allow the emotional tornado that is her sister live with us. Am I the a-hole? SDP82 says, "Not the a-hole. Your sister-in-law will move in and never leave. It will be a nightmare for you. There's a reason no one else will take her in. Actually, it sounds like multiple reasons, all valid. The sort of person who will make up easily disprovable claims about her employer, then post them online publicly, is not stable, and will tell lies about you as soon as you become inconvenient in any way. In fact, we know this is the case because she has a history of doing exactly that." Zesty Golf 7654 says, "Not the a-hole. To be honest, I ignored the rest of your post after reading that she doesn't flush after each use. This is enough of a reason to not let anyone live with you.